Hello everyone, God of Caw here, and today's video is one that I have been trying to do for a long time, ever since I even got into Fabula Ultima. So there is this little video series by Zigmantotep or something like that called Let's Make Us a Character, right? And he does it for every TTRPG that he has ever seen and or played, right? He hasn't done one for Fabula Ultima yet, and I personally think I would want to try it. But for me, scripted videos have been taking way too long for me, so why not do it in this whole PNG tuber style, right? Just so I can easily just do everything right here, right now, right? Right, so how do we make a Fabula Ultima PC? Well, there are 8 steps. Step 1, create your identity. The next step is to create a theme. Step 3 is to create your origin. Step 4 is to choose some 2 or 3 classes and distribute your 5 levels among them. Step 5, determine your base eye sizes for your 4 attributes. Calculate your hit points, mind points, inventory points, defense, magic defense, and initiative for step 6. Step 7 is you basically buy equipment using a budget of 500 Zenith, and then you roll 2d6, multiply that by 10 to add to your leftover Zenith to create your initial savings, and finally your name and pronouns, right? Those are the 8 steps into character creation, and we're gonna start off with creating your identity. Now, this part varies depending on the kind of setting you are playing in, and also your group dynamic in character, right? But here for this video alone, we're just gonna try to show off how random identity creation can be, right? So there are 3 tables to choose from, right? Your core concept, adjectives, and a detail. A core concept is where you roll a d6 to see which column you will be rolling from, and then you roll on that column via a d20 to see which core concept specifically you are choosing, right? The same thing is for adjectives, but for the detail you are just rolling the d6, right? So let's start off with our core concepts. Right now you can choose or roll up to 2 of these for core concept and adjective. But also detail, you can also either not do it or choose just one. We will be doing all of these at the maximum for the most random and also the most detailed character for their identity, right? And how do we roll? Well, you may have noticed this dice roller that is in front of me. we will be rolling on that to see what our character will be. Right now you will see my mouse right here. Check it out. Never mind that it is also hovering over my avatar. Do not mind that. So first we are going to roll a d6. And we got a 6. So we are going off of the last column right now. So let's see what we get via the d20 following suit. 2 6s. So we got a duelist starting out. Let's actually get to that. So, duelist. And now we get to roll for our for a second core concept, and for this we will just be rolling these some of the two again just by doing this. 1 and a 1, so a duelist knight. That is interesting. Now, what are our details? Again, this is also using these same dice, except there are only 2 columns. So let's see what happens. A 2 and a 7. We are a kind. Let us just put that down. A kind. Three and a 1, a kind and charming duelist knight. Interesting. Kind and charming duelist knight. Now for a detail, which we just roll a d20 for. So we're just gonna get rid of that and just roll this. And we get a 2. We are on the run, apparently. That is interesting. I wonder what could have happened to our character for being on the run. And as for a theme, again, there isn't really a table for this, but there are 10 suggestions right here, which can allow us to maybe create a makeshift table going from ambition all the way down to vengeance, labeling them 1 through 10. So we will do just that. And that's a 4, which is doubt, which is interesting. You need to find answers to a burning question. That is interesting. Let us get that filled in. And for an origin, this can vary based on the setting that your group created. So I'm just gonna say the kingdom. Just a very general term that could probably be filled in by anything. And those are our traits right there. And now for a class. Let me look here. I do have to admit I like what we just randomly got. It feels simple based on what I know because, well, I have been experimenting with this because I have tried this 3 times. I'm not kidding. This is my 3rd try at this. Mainly because the first attempt at the scripted thing made me think, okay, this seems a little bit boring, right? Just doing the minimum possible. And then I chose not just, yes, it was random, but I was pretty minimal But then I thought, okay, I'm gonna try this, right? I'm gonna actually do a full random, and I did enjoy what I created there, but scripting it and just voicing it all out, and me just trying to, oh god, just, it basically killed me, to be honest, mentally. So I just said, I'm gonna not do this. I'm gonna see if there's any other way that I can possibly make this video. And I just thought, you know what? I might as well get into PNG tubing so I can actually create something. So I thought, hey, why not this, right? So I have been scrolling around inside my book, and with a kind, charming duelist knight on the run, obviously a weapon master works. Just gotta look over this to see if there's any interesting ideas I can get out of this section here. So far, Weapon Master is my pick, but I want to figure out what would be interesting for our character, though. Why would they be on the run, right? Why would they be on the run, actually? That is interesting. Why would they be on the run, though? One of these classes could possibly... Oh, I have an idea. So, there is this class called Dark Blade. Or I could probably go with Chimerist or Arcanist for having this very unusual power, right? That could be something. Maybe they could be charming in some other way, because maybe they could have a mix of orator, because they're meant to be some kind of a flamboyant kind of character. Let's say, because you're charming, you could be persuasive. You know what? That makes sense. Being charming means you could be very persuasive. I could definitely see that happening. Unexpected ally could also work out, because it says here, and I quote, you may use an action and spend 1 Fabula point to choose a non-hostile creature able to hear and understand you. If you do, that creature becomes helpful towards you, so long as you are kind and respectful to them and your requests are reasonable. Honestly, that works for being kind and charming. Yeah, honestly, orator works. So, here are our classes, right? Let me just scroll over to here and go all the way down here. Right, our classes. Now, of course, we're going to do our 5 levels. Then we're going to do orator. Orator 1. And of course we're going to have, I'm going to say, honestly, persuasive is also tempting to get at least 1 level into. So we will do that, actually. We're going to do unexpected ally. And we're gonna do persuasive 1. And of course we have to take into account our free benefits. For the orator, we are getting a +5 maximum MP, +5 max MP. And now for the Weapon Master, which is the last class in this book, believe it or not. Weapon Master. And we have, actually, we need to make this 2 now because we decided to get another skill in there. And of course, Weapon Master. Weapon Master. Say we are 3 in this, and our free benefits are a +5 maximum hit points. And the ability to wield martial melee weapons and martial shields. So that's where we are able to go to over here. The equipment side. We're just going to check off these things if it'll allow me. There we go. Martial, no, not martial armor. Shields and melee weapons. There we go. And as for our chosen skills, how about this? Because we are a duelist, we would probably prefer counterattack. Which I'm gonna read out to you like I did with the others at minimum. After an enemy hits or misses you with a melee attack, if the result of their accuracy check was an even number, you may perform a free attack against that enemy after their attack has been fully resolved. This attack must be a melee attack and must have that enemy as its only target. Treat your high roll HR as 0 when calculating the damage dealt by this attack. So pretty much we get a free attack in, just free damage right off the gate. It looks like, actually, that looks like it's just an attack that you have to roll an accuracy check for, but the accuracy check's high roll for it is treated as 0 when doing damage math, which we will get into. That's our first skill going into this. I would say 2 levels into melee weapon mastery, which I will explain right now, just increases the accuracy check by a number equal to this skills level, which we will do 2 in. There we go. Those are our classes. Honestly, this really works out for how our character could be working out. And in that case, because we are a duelist, we gotta go into our next thing that we got to talk about is attribute dice. Yeah, so attribute dice. Let me just pull up this. Now for our attributes, we can only choose between 3 different profiles, right? There is the Jack of all trades, which is 4d8s. These are all d8s, and these are all that we will be using, if that is the case. Or a d10, 2d8s, and a d6, which is average in this case. Or we can do specialize, which are 2d10s and 2d6s. This does mean, yes, that some of our attributes are going to be extremely low, mind you. Now, personally for me, when it comes to making characters like this, but we also have to keep into mind what we are, right? We have to keep in mind that we are creating a kind, charming duelist on the run, right? Of course, we're gonna be specialized in some attribute in particular, and I would say decent in all others, right? Now, I'm thinking of actually doing average here, and here is what I will do, right? So, we're gonna say that our D10 will go into dexterity. Our D10 will go into there. Next, we will have to choose our D8s, which I'm thinking is insight and willpower, but that does mean we are a glass cannon almost. So, comes to insight is a D8, and willpower is a D8, and then for our might is a D6. And we will leave these blank because they're going to be treated as this as long as we don't have any of those, right? Right. So, with those done, we got to do some other math, right? So, working out our hit points, it is our level plus 5 times our might die size plus whatever bonuses we get from other things, which in this case we have a 40 as our hit points, and our crisis is half that, which is a 20. Crisis only matters when your hit points are equal to or less than half, and whatever effects happen due to us being in crisis, which right now isn't a thing. Next is our mind points, which is the same thing except with our willpower, which in this case it is a D8. D8 times 5 is 40, 45, but plus our orator it is 50. And our inventory points are always a base of 6 unless it gets increased by other things. Now we move over to this little area, which is currently our initiative right now is 0. Our defense is equal to our dexterity, which is a 10 right now. And finally, our magic defense is equal to our insight, which is an 8. There we go with that, and now we get to buy equipment. Now we start with 500 zenith. There. And now we get to buy equipment using this 500 zenith, right? So I'm looking through things right now, and a duelist normally uses a one-handed weapon, but they're also a knight, so you're able... So maybe for certain situations, you might go for a more better weapon, right? Well, for our case, our Might Die is gonna hinder us a lot. So I personally do not think, using any weapons that uses the Might Die is appropriate for us right now, which means currently thinking we do need to buy armor. Yes, this is tricky because we only have 500 zenith, right? So what I'm thinking is a combat tunic for 150 zenith. And we'll put them on ourselves right now for armor. Combat tunic, which in our case isn't a martial armor, which helps. And this tunic increases our defense and magic defense by 1. So let's get that taken care of. And that was 150 zenith, so we are down to 350 right now. There we go. Now for the offhand, which is what shields go into, we are able to equip a martial shield. So, and the only martial shield we have is the runic shield. And we'll do a parentheses and do a plus to identify that it is martial equipment. And this gives us a +2 into our defense and magic defense. So this will give us a 13 and an 11. And that drops us all the way down to 200 zenith. And now lastly, for weapons. Honestly, the best choice that we have for a dueling knight, mind you, we are a dueling knight, and thus one-handed weapons make sense, because, you know, when it comes to fencing-wise, those are your only options for, like, a duelist, right? But I think using the runic shield also emphasizes that our character is a knight, mind you. Therefore, we are gonna get a rapier for our main hand, which is a martial weapon. Rapier. There we go. And the rapier basically used up all of our money, which we're gonna actually calculate later, because we need to get into this right now, right? So, as for the damage property, it is for our accuracy check, it is Dex plus Insight. Now that would now it would normally be a +1 because it is a rapier. However, due to our melee weapon mastery 2 skill, our accuracy check increases by its level, so really it is a 3 now. And the damage output is the high roll plus 6 physical damage. And there are no properties that I have ever mentioned for these things because we have already put their thing into this. And thus now, we're broke. We are now officially broke. Now for the second to last thing, we need to calculate our initial savings, which is where the die roller comes into play once again. So from here we roll 2d6 and see what happens. 2 and a 2. Multiply that by 10. The total by 10, and we are starting off with 40 zenith. And of course, for every new PC, we always start with 3 Fabula points due to this. And now for our name and pronouns. Now, I could easily choose one of these names that are in character names right here in alphabetical order, right? I could easily do that. But I'm thinking no. I'm not going to choose any of those names, right? So, here's what I am gonna do. We're gonna name her, and I'm gonna choose her for a reason. I'm gonna name her... what will be a female corruption of the Diarmuid? Now I have a reason why, right? So, I will explain. I just thought of this. We could call her Diarmuid. And here's my reason why, right? So, just when making her, right, what I believe, right, is her origin, right, is she, and yes, I say she, was just a normal person, right? Just a normal citizen, but she wanted to fight for her own folks, right? Her own people, right? So she pretended to be a male for the whole recruitment, enlistment, and all of that, right? And due to this, right? Due to her hiding her own identity and trying to keep it a secret, she might have gained some female admirers, who knows, and she became incredibly charming, not just but towards her female fans, but maybe, just maybe, some of the male knights who are pondering about her, like, is Diarmuid who we think she really, not she, but he, because they think Diarmuid is a male, not a female, so they're questioning their thoughts on him in their eyes. Even though this is typically a more anime-esque Mulan story, right? Because they're noticing Diarmuid isn't what a male would normally look like. He's very lean, a little bit curvy, and some kind of, there is something about her face, right? You know, that kind of feeling that you get from a certain painting that is like very well known, you know, the Mona Lisa. You get a certain feeling about that painting's smile that is sort of similar to what is happening with Iarmuid, right? So, when this happens, right, when it's finally found out that really Iarmuid is a female, let's just say the patriarchy, at least the higher rankings, you know, higher than a knight, right? Let's just say that the kingdom's higher-ups, beyond a normal knight, don't like her now. They see her as a traitor to what she should normally be, and instead of accepting her fate, which actually, I'm changing my mind, she does accept her fate, and initially is like slated to be executed by the higher-ups of the knights, and also the kingdom's rulers themselves, right? Initially. However, her fellow knights actually break her out, give her the equipment that she could possibly need, some funds, and tell her to get the fuck out for her own sake, for her own life. And all of the kingdom's knights and citizens help her escape, and she has been on the run from the actual kingdom since. And I think that's how we're starting off. Now, for her being on the run, and that very question of like out. Now, to actually do that, her doubt is, was she really worth it of being a knight? Due to her initial upraisings, does she really deserve to be a knight, despite her charm, despite her kindness, and also despite her capabilities of being a knight? A well-earned title of being a knight. And so, this is our character. Now, I will admit, this was admittedly fun to make. I enjoyed this whole process. Now, I would like to do more of these in the future, and I have one planned for Halloween. And what could that might be? You will have to see and find out. Until then, this is God of Caw, signing off.